I call the meeting of January 20th, 2026 to order at 6 p.m. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to invite Pastor David Barnes to do our invocation.
Thank you. All right, bow your heads. Dear Father, I want to read a verse back to you today, and we will pray over this. Father, 2 Chronicles 7:14 says, "If my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and I will hear their land." So Father, that is our prayer today. As we see much division and divisiveness throughout our culture, throughout these great United States, Father, we ask that you hear our prayers. We lift them up to you. We ask that you heal the divisiveness, that you heal our land, that we might come together and we might communicate, we might listen for understanding, that we might just be willing to open our eyes and our ears to seeing and hearing something new. And Father, we pray as we lift this up to you that you will carve a path for this nation, that you will heal this nation, and specific to our town right here, Father, that we pray for this leadership, that they will unite and they will come together, they will listen, they will understand the community's needs, and then they will work together to do the best for this community. And Father, lift up the new council members and the new mayor. Father, they have decided to serve you faithfully. So God, would you bless that? Would you protect that? Would you protect this community? God, we lift up these prayers to you. We ask that you answer them according to your will. And we pray these things in Jesus' name. And everyone said, amen.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Elfers,
Yes, here.
Evers,
Here.
Hochstetter,
Here.
Kenna, Councilmember Kenna. Mr. Kenna is absent tonight. Frankie,
Here.
Woolsey.
Here. Councilmember Kenna, let me just get rid of this. I know, shut your mic off. Thank you. Councilmember Kenna is absent from tonight's meeting. Per council rules, proper notification was made. Is there a motion to excuse Councilmember Kenna from tonight's meeting? Councilmember Ranky,
I make a motion to excuse Councilmember Cameron from tonight's meeting.
is there a second? Councilmember Elfers,
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right. Will the clerk please read the consent agenda?
Item number 1, approval of the meeting minutes of the January 5th, 2026 regular council meeting and the 12th of January, 2026 study session. Item 2, approval of the checks electronic payments in the amount of $5,388,613.18. Item 3, Hunt Avenue Reconstruction Design Consultant Agreement. Item 4, Resolution number 1738, Highway Safety Improvement Program Grant Acceptance, Neighborhood Traffic Calming and Intersection Data Collection. Item 5, Resolution number 1739, Highway Safety Improvement Program Grant Acceptance, Roadway Curve Warning and Delineation. Item 6, Stewart Road Bridge Temporary Construction Easement Extension, Menke Lumber. Item 7, Stewart Road Bridge Temporary Construction Easement Extension, Putalco Industries Limited. Item 8, Stewart Road Bridge Temporary Construction Easement Extension, Riverside Free Will Baptist Church.
Deputy Mayor Elfers, would you please make a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the consent agenda for January 20th, 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Evers. It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Would any council member wish to remove an item? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay. There is no public hearing tonight. So we move on to regular business. There is no unfinished business tonight. So this moves us on to public comment. Michelle, will you please read the rules for public comment?
When the clerk or mayor calls your name, please step up to the podium. You have 3 minutes to speak. If you have not signed in, please begin by stating your name and the city in which you reside for the record. This portion of the meeting is an opportunity for the council to hear from the community. It is not a time for questions, dialogue, or a back and forth discussion. At the mayor's discretion, questions raised during public comment may be referred to an appropriate staff member for response outside of the meeting. And Mayor, we do have one person who has signed up tonight for public comment, Randall Adams.
Is there anyone participating via Zoom that would like to comment? No? Okay. So, Michelle, would you please call Mr. Adams?
Mr. Adams, would you come to the podium, please?
At the last meeting, Deputy Mayor Elfers again asked the city to supply all council members with concise summaries of the various committee meetings. Not the inaccurate and vague comments that will appear about tonight's meeting. No, what you deserve are true meeting minutes that include key discussions, any decisions made, and assigned actions that were concluded to be acted upon. Those concise summaries of essential info will add clarity and continuity for all the council to understand what is going on in the city so that you can carry out your sworn duties to represent the city of Sumner and comply with the laws of the state of Washington. Otherwise, you are not voting with knowledge. Instead, you're voting blindly on items that are not in the committees that you yourself serve on. Our mayor, when she was on the council, did attend other committee meetings to try to follow what was going on in the city and be informed. However, she was at that time retired. That is no longer the case. We currently have 4 council members who work full-time in addition to your efforts to help Sumner by serving as council members. All council members with your status as 1/4 employees deserve to have concise information provided specifically to you by the administration to allow you to intelligently do your job. What I am suggesting here is a huge expansion over what the city currently does, and it should be done the day after each committee meeting so that you can stay current on what is happening within the city. Now, the city may push back at this being unreasonable and saying that we don't have employees who can do this and it will be a financial burden to the city. This response should be summarily rejected, coming from senior executives in the city who self-determined they deserved a $75,000 raise over the last year. If they need professionals to do this important task, then they should hire one. Sending you on a wild goose chase to try to find information is a waste of your time and will not get you the information you deserve because they don't publish it. You, as our city council, have the ultimate option to ensure that you are helped to do your jobs and stay informed. If the city tells you no, you can ask the mayor to institute the policy, as she is the chief executive of our government. If she says no, then 4 of you can simply vote to approve this policy, and you will override all of the no's you've heard. Currently, if 3 of you vote with this policy, then it's up to the mayor to make the deciding vote. I ask that 4 of you please vote yes, so that our new mayor is not put into a unique position so quickly into her 4-year term. You collectively have the power to help yourself to do your jobs efficiently and with more knowledge than what is happening currently. Also, by educating each of you completely on what is happening with all of the different committees in town, that is the best way to train our next mayor so that they know what's going on and have a better overall view of the city as they move forward.
Thank you. Any more? Anyone? Please step up.
Please state your name.
Name's Casey Henderson, 5908, 5912, 162nd Ave East. I sent all the council members, Deputy Mayor Elfers and Mayor Bowman an email with my concerns about the Murray price hikes. I was in the disposal industry for 8 years, so I'm not new to it, both as a driver and as a route manager. But for the folks listening, they didn't get that. Starting off a 17-year disposal contract is crazy. That is unheard of. You get 6 to 10 years if the city likes you. If they don't, you get 2 to 4 until they find someone that they do. So a 17-year contract is insane. You have no idea what's going to change within your city in that time. You have no idea what's going to change with that company in that time. There's too many unknowns for a contract of that length. The other thing that I was looking on is they use the local CPI, the Consumer Price Index, for their price increases. That's a little unfair. Washington's the 4th most expensive state in the nation. So yeah, we're going to be paying a whole lot more for things, which makes it a bigger price hike. Local CPI is not adjusted for seasonal inflation like the federal CPI is. And they couldn't go October to October, I know, because of the government shutdown, not their fault. But August to August doesn't give us another month of those decreased fuel prices, which just makes our CPI even higher. With regards to the B&O tax, that tax is a tax on the seller. That is not something that you pass on directly to the consumer. It's not a sales tax, like it's an income tax on the company itself. There's just a lot of things that need to be looked at before we just blindly keep approving this every single year. It was either last year or the year before, the question was raised if they're going to every city asking for these increases. And the response was, yes, they are. And is every city approving it? No, they are not. So we do not have to approve this. We do not have to pass this on to our residents, many of whom are on fixed incomes, and every little bit helps. So please keep that in mind before you vote tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, we will move on to new business. So resolution number 1740-2026, refuse rates. Councilmember Ranky, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I would like to move resolution number 1740, 2026 refuse rates.
Thank you. Can we get a second, please?
Second.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mayor, could
Councilmember
you please announce who made the second?
Wilsey, Councilmember Wilsey.
Thank you.
I'd like to call on Deputy City Administrator Jeff Steffens. Oh, look.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here this evening to talk about the 2026 refuse rates. As mentioned earlier, the city has a franchise agreement with Murray's Disposal to allow them to be the exclusive refuse hauler inside city limits. As part of that agreement, Murray's is allowed an annual increase that's effective March 1st of every year. That increase is based on 2 separate components. The first is local inflation. It's 80% of local inflation, which for this time period is 2.82% increase. The second is they're allowed to pass on the increased landfill disposal costs. So these are the costs that Murray's themselves pays to dispose of the trash at the landfill. That disposal rate is increasing from $184.99 a ton to $195.32 a ton. That is a disposal rate that is reviewed by the county and approved by the county at that level. Because of the length of the agreement, Murray's has the ability to come back and ask for an additional increase based on unforeseen circumstances. At this point in time, they're asking for an increase based on a recently passed state B&O tax that previously did not apply to refuse service, and now it does. That tax started on October 1st of last year. The request is to pass that tax on to customers. The tax would vary based on service levels, but for a residential customer, it's roughly between 8 cents and 26 cents a month. For a commercial customer, it's 55 cents to $13.49 a month if you have a rather large dumpster. Provided here on this slide are some example of residential rates. If you look, we'll use the service that I have at my house, which is a 32 gallon cart, which is kind of right in the middle of the graph there. The new 2026 proposed rate is $39.74. So that's taking into account the inflation factor plus the landfill disposal cost. On top of that, the ask would be for an additional 14 cents in B&O tax. Moving across would make a total 2026 rate of $39.88 a month. Comparing that to the 2025 rate of $38.37 a month is a $1.51 increase. I've also included on this the yard waste cost. I know a lot of people have yard waste service. That would be going from essentially $7.98 to $8.19 a month for a total increase of 21 cents. All of these residential refuse rates here include recycling, so that's included in the cost. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the council? Councilmember Elfers?
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. I was just curious, do we get a lot of complaints about our garbage service in town?
Very minimal.
Okay, and then just to address the question from the Mr. Adams, do we, or Mr. Henderson, I guess, do you see like the contract, 17-year contract, is there anything you'd like to add to give us some context on that? Is that unusual, or is it sort of reason for it, or?
Deputy Mayor Alford, I'll weigh in on that. I just pulled up the contract. We entered into an agreement in 2015 that expired in 22 and then was restated, re-entered into in 22 to 2032. So it's really a 10-year agreement.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Evers?
I think I just had my question answered.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
the Deputy Mayor's question, so thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else up on council? Questions? Oh, council, thank you, Councilmember Ranky.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll just weigh in a little bit. I guess on the CPI, it's CPIW, West Coast. That's typically what most people use if you live on the West Coast. There's a CPIU and other CPIs, but West Coast. The other, I guess, issue I have is not really an issue, but it's a statement. There's Murray's, there's LeMay's, and Waste Management King County. That's about it. Unless you're Enumclaw or a university place that have their own refuse. The cities run them. So I don't know what other options are out there to try to get out of something like that. So I don't know. And like I said, I have I typically watch a lot of meetings, and they have been approving these contracts that I've known in the last 2 years anyway, that I've seen. So I'm going to support the resolution tonight, and I'll be in favor of it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Deputy City Administrator Jeff Stephens.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from the public?
That is good, right? No.
Please state your name for the record, and as a reminder, you do have 3 minutes to
Sorry.
speak.
My name's Amanda Henderson. Doing 5908 162nd. Are we still
Ms.
doing?
Henderson, just a moment.
Is it not?
Madam Clerk, would you turn on the mic?
I hit the button, I swear.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry. I just have a clarification. This thing that was sent out to the public says 17-year contract in 2015. So if that's totally accurate, cool, but I want to update that for the citizens because it straight up says 17-year contract. We do have other options. There's Republic, there's Ally, there's Cleanscapes. There's lots of other companies that if we entice them enough, they will come down here. My biggest issue is just because they ask for it, we don't have to keep giving it to them. This is one tiny little thing and it sounds like only $3 or $4, but that's $50 a year. It adds up really, really quick if you have lots of yard waste bins like we do. We have a large yard. And our current governor is taxing us out of this state. This is one little thing we can do for our residents to take it as a win. And I'll be honest with you, Murray's is not a union. They're not union drivers. They're not paying their drivers a fair wage compared to other companies around here. We do have other options, but you have to fight for it. And if they were gonna promise that they took this $50 a year that I raised and pass it on to a father who's working his butt off to pay for his kids and his mortgage, then sure, I'll pay that $50. But it doesn't. My husband used to work there. Trust me. It's not fair. It's not a great company. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any comments from the council? Councilmember Evers?
I guess it's been a try, so what if we say no to this? What would happen?
If you say no to the increase in rates, they're contractually obligated to get those. What is really a question, what you could say no to is the BNO pass through. Everything else is contractually obligated that you approve. So the tipping fee increase as well as the 80% CPI.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Hochstetter?
Yes.
Yes. Ranky,
Yes.
Alfers,
Yes, yes.
Evers,
Yes.
pass 5-0.
Thank you. Councilmember Evers.
No, I was just getting ready for my,
Oh, okay, sit tight.
trying to get ahead again.
Okay. Next, ordinance number 2938. Donation, naming rights and sponsorship. Councilmember Evers, would you like to make a motion?
Love to. I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2938, donation, naming rights, and sponsorship.
Could I get a second? Councilmember Deputy Mayor Elfers.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Elfers. I'd like to call on Deputy City Attorney Doug Ruth.
Thank you, Mayor. So this proposed ordinance has taken a little bit longer path than the normal ordinances before the council. As mentioned last meeting, it was introduced in the fall, then went to Finance Committee and was heard by this body at 2 study sessions, different members, but 2 study sessions. And then it's up for consideration for the second time tonight. I hope I accurately say that path was, along that path, there was just some fine tweaking of the ordinance. And I think that's because really the purpose wasn't to greatly change current code, but was to make some marginal improvements. Its purpose was, as Carmen Palmer mentioned last week, to deepen the guardrails for donations, because both the city and the donors are going to want clear expectations of what happens when a donation occurs. So I think that helps both parties to have deeper guardrails. That was based upon some of the experiences the city had with donations in the past. Also, secondly, it updates the ordinance or the code on donations. And most greatly, in terms of naming rights, the code is void of any discussion of naming rights. And it adds those provisions into code, since the potential for naming rights, I think, for all cities is going to increase. It has increased, but certainly for Sumner in the future with the capital projects, there'll be greater opportunity. So we don't want to do that blindly, go into it blindly. We want some direction. The ordinance would provide that direction in code. So the ordinance, the ordinance requires contractual agreements for donations and for naming rights agreements. And this is really kind of goes back to Robert Frost's point about neighbors. Good fences make good neighbors. Well, good contracts make good neighbors too, makes happy parties. If you have good contractual agreements, then the donor knows what's going to happen. over time, what the authority is of the city, and the city knows what conditions, what strings are attached to that donation. So it's a good provision to have for both naming rights and donations. The ordinance also establishes a process where the city executive department would need to come before this council on any large fundraising projects for capital projects. So if we're going out to name a playground, that effort would first have to go in front of the council just to give notice who the city is looking at for donors and how they're going to go about doing that. The ordinance provides for a policy, administrative policy, to carry out this ordinance, and it clarifies that prior donations, current items that have been donated are under the clear authority of the city to control, to maintain, to relocate, etc. The ordinance updates current code by increasing the thresholds for approval for the city administrator, finance committee, and for the full council. And it adds stronger language for the city to reject proposed donations, clarifies that. And then I mentioned that it updates by adopting a naming ordinance, a section. I'll first start out with what it doesn't do. It doesn't rid the council's authority to choose to name parks, playgrounds, buildings. Council always has that authority. The naming rights would only come into play if we are seeking donations for transferring that right to a private donor. The donor it provide again a donation agreement, so it outlined the conditions and that agreement goes to council for approval. And it provides for a donation policy, further providing for guardrails, and it allows the authority to be in council to rescind any names of parks or any other facilities. So with that, I'm open up for questions.
Questions? All right, thank you. Any comments from the public?
Randall Adams, Sumner, Washington. In regards to ordinance 2938 donations, let me start with acceptance authority item number B. Department directors and the city administrator may approve in-kind donations supporting budgeted or planned projects regardless of the value of the non-monetary donation. I think here you should define what is allowed as in-kind donations. The city administrator may accept all non-monetary donations of any other kind, regardless of value, including but not limited to equipment and goods, but may reject any non-monetary donation for any reason. Since this says not limited to equipment and goods, therefore labor using the equipment and goods must be included here, correct? This is not a change, yet C.A. Wilson has specifically told those of us trying to save the Ryan House for a couple of years that the city does not accept in-kind donations or free labor. Also, this allows the city administrator to accept donations, being those of $5, $500,000, or $5 million. He's in control of all of those. Why? Why? You should ask yourselves, why would that be? Why are there also dollar guidelines for non-monetary donations different than whatever it is you decide on monetary? Shouldn't you keep it simple? Shouldn't they be the same in the same process, be for the same for both of them? What is the difference and why is it so important to separate them? If you want consistent guardrails, be consistent and keep your guidelines the same for both monetary and non-monetary donations, including the city council as you decide those. Now, non-monetary donations, they're looking to change it up to $5,000 for the city administrator, from $5 to $50 for the finance and personnel committee, and above that for the council. This means that up to $50,000, the city administrator has to be told by 2 of the 3 council members after a small room presentation that is not recorded, so it cannot be verified as to what is said or represented by anyone not in the room or online at that time, and then commented only by memory. This is about control, and the city administrator wants to make sure he has control over whatever is done. I suggest keep the old number thresholds and the new guidelines that you have written, the verbiage of them for clarity. And keep the whole city council more involved as possible. That way, if you get kicked in at $5,000, then you know what's going on. But at $50,000, waiting for that, how many times is that gonna happen? I don't know, hopefully a lot, but you still should know what's going on before then. Unless referred to the city council, the determination by the city administrator or the finance committee is final. Meaning the other four of you don't matter. You have no say in any of this, so. It's just intent to bypass you.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Do we have anyone on Zoom? Thank you. Any comments from the council? Deputy Mayor Elpers.
Yeah, I did want to just see if we can get some thoughts. I know that we were pretty thoughtful when we wrote this, and I just, from maybe more of an experiential standpoint, Mr. Ruth or Mr. Wilson, maybe what are your experiences with non-monetary donations and some of the things that are complex about that?
Yeah, I'll look to the city administrator to kind of give some history on that since I haven't been with Sumner that long. I will observe that my experience with other cities is that in-kind donations, non-monetary donations, which would be goods and services, are usually of lesser amount, and even more particularly, they're usually connected to some operation. So you get a bench for a park, hopefully you get a police car for the police. Or you have volunteers that plant trees, but those are all connected to the executive branch operations. And so that's usually why you have that under the control of the city administrator or the mayor, part of the executive department to approve those. Not only are they related to the executive branch operation, whether or not we need a new police car, what kind of police car it should be, but it's also triggers a lot of decisions that the executive branch would need to make. If you have volunteers, there's a liability concern with that. Is there a prevailing wage? Are they doing work that requires prevailing wage? Are they doing work that's covered by union contract? Again, with the police car, again, what type of car we're going to use, what's the maintenance on that, et cetera. These are all executive issues that would probably depend on whether or not you're going to accept the donation or not. So I think that's the distinction between in-kind donations having more of an administrative approval and the executive branch than monetary one. Certainly you could have a in-kind donation, which would be a sculpture for the front lawn. I don't think you see that much. And maybe that would be one where you could see the city administrator taking that to council because he has that option. But again, you don't see that often. In terms of our past experience, I'll look to the city administrator to provide that.
Thank you, Mr. Ruth and Deputy Mayor Elflers. He did a fantastic job describing that. I would say the most common things that we've accepted in-kind donations for are usually like Eagle Scout projects, very minor, garden planting areas. We have never accepted a in-kind donation I'm aware of for a significant capital project. As Mr. Ruth mentioned, there's a lot of complexities with that when you start looking at prevailing wages and public works laws in the state of Washington.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. I think I think it's well written. I think we've done a good job on it. I think one of the things that I really appreciate is our ability to get grants is determined in large part based on our ability to raise public fund or private funds. So I think it's really significant, and something I learned in the process of going over this is we don't want to put a lot of barriers in the way of people donating. It's already complicated. I think non-monetary is more complicated. So I think I'm in favor of the ordinance as it written.
Councilmember Hochstetter.
Yeah, I understand the need for clear guardrails on this. I do appreciate the fact that the council, whoever is serving at the time, representing the people, remain the authority on naming rights as things comes forward with parks and things like that. And like what Deputy Mayor Elfers just said, our staff, the importance of grants, and our staff has done such a fantastic job at securing grants for our city. So anything that continues to keep that going for our town and our city, I mean, that's a win, I think. So I'm in favor of approving this tonight.
Any other comments from council? All right, Will the clerk please call the roll?
Elfers,
Yes.
Ranky,
Yes.
Evers,
Yes.
Hochstetter,
Yes.
Wiltie.
Yes.
Pass 5-0.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'd like to move on to reports. So Deputy Mayor Elfers.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the comments tonight. I always appreciate feedback, even when it's critical, and I think it gives us the ability to think and ask good questions. So thank you for that. One of the things that my commitment is this year to improve on is to just report a little bit more on the committee level. I mentioned that last week at the study session, I believe. So I think I was gonna just do that a little bit tonight. I'm on the Finance and Personnel Committee as the chair. And so this week we met on January 8th. And a pretty short meeting, just kind of getting the year started. Selected a chair, confirmation of meeting. And when we're meeting, we're changing the meeting time to 3:30 on Wednesdays. This thing is just a half hour earlier. The same as it was in the past. And then as far as HR updates, we got an update on the HR. We have the public operations building is nearly complete. And so we have done some reorganization, which I think is pretty thoughtful. They've created a public POD, it's Public Operations Department, with some staff changes which reflect where people are working. So there's going to be people working in the new public operations building, and so there's going to I think it's a good change. So we have a few changes there. Some people are moving around, and I think it's going to be a reorg that'll help to help management work better. We are in the audit process with the 2024 audit. Got an update on status. Got a little bit of defining terms from Cassandra. And so that was helpful. And then the monthly sales tax report was really optimistic. I was really happy to see that so far it looks like we're ahead of schedule. Have a couple of new pretty high sales tax generating companies in town that are helping us out. So as we get into the budget cycle this year, it looks like we're not behind on the sales tax collection. So and I think I'm the chair of the Public Works Committee. I'm also on that committee. Unless Councilmember Evers would like to do this report, I'll let you do it next time.
Yeah, I wasn't ready. You've got your notes
Right,
right
okay.
there. That's why you're the deputy mayor.
Councilmember Kenna is the chair on the Public Works Committee this next couple of years. And so we talked a lot of almost everything we talked about was in the consent agenda tonight. Obviously, we don't talk about the consent agenda. One of the comments, Councilmember Evers is also on the committee, mentioned as we were going through it, is just how when these are mostly we're receiving grants. So it's really it's pretty a nice meeting when the agenda item is, hey, do you guys want to accept $100,000 to help you with this project? So we had the grant acceptance for the neighborhood traffic calming intersection data collection. So they're doing a lot of intersection improvements that we are receiving a grant from. It'll help the community. And then the Hunt Avenue reconstruction, that's one of the streets that's one of the on our streets report is it's in the red and it's really in bad shape. And so the council voted, I believe it was last year, to fund the design for that, so we can work on getting that streets fixed. We're trying to make sure our streets are taken care of and don't get behind too much. Another item we talked about was some of the roadway projects we had a grant on for helping to more safety issues with it's called roadway curb and warning delineation. We did a couple of contracts where we had some construction easements that we had to pay for up with the Stewart Road Bridge. So we have 3 of them that are on the consent agenda. They're extended for a year. And then the good news on that one is I think normally Department of Transportation only allows it to be a year and we have to renew it. I believe, if I understood it correctly at the meeting, that we are able to extend it for an additional year, which means we shouldn't have to pay for more easements through the completion of this project, ideally, if the project stays on track. Got a little bit of an update on the ADA transition plan to just try to create transportation routes for folks who are need ADA getting on and off sidewalks, which is obviously we have a lot of parades in town, so it's really nice to have easy access on and off sidewalks on a bike or a wheelchair. So or stroller, whatever you have. So anyways, I think there's another couple items I don't need to mention, but those are, the committees are really, there's a lot of information there. And I think Summer does a great job at keeping taxpayer costs down by just raising grants. And so I want to applaud them in that. And we asked them like, hey, who does all the grant applications? And everybody in the room said we all do it. So with the help of Carmen Palmer, I think they also, we kind of asked her for help. She's kind of the expert, but so shout out to Carmen. So I think it is really, one of the things that stands out about Sumner is that we keep our taxes down and our costs down because we are good at bringing in grants. And so thank you to staff for that. And those are my reports on those two committees. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Elfers. Councilmember Ranky.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do have a few things to report on. Like Deputy Mayor Elfers said, on the 8th was Finance and Personnel meeting. We did elect him as the chair. Wasn't a whole lot at the meeting. It was our first one. So we did the 24 audit, just kind of went over that with Cassandra. And did the sales tax high people top 10 for the 2 months. There were two month lag. So it's from 2 months ago. And then also, like Andy said, we did change the meetings to the second Wednesday at 3:30. Just worked out better for everybody. My next meeting I went to on the 15th was the PCRC, Pierce County Regional Council, my first meeting. And I will give a shout out to Ryan Windish because he helped me out with my Zoom meeting. I've never done a Zoom meeting. So he walked me through it and did that. But Pierce County Regional Council is just representatives from all the cities in Pierce County and also the libraries, just about anything in the county that has a government entity. There's about 25 to probably 30 in the Zoom meeting. Went through the agenda. It was a lot of discussion items, but not a lot of action stuff. We did take action on a unified regional approach to ending homelessness, something they've been working on for about 1.5 years now. There's a lot of pieces to it, but they're doing mostly data collection right now. And the end of this month, the last 2 days of the month, they'll be doing a new count, about 300 volunteers. We're going out through all the cities and county and getting a head count of homeless. What they're working on is their goal is to get an interlocal agreement with all the cities and the county and try to do something about this homelessness in the county. So that's going to be something they're working on for the rest of the year. The rest of it was just going over the work plan for the rest of the year and electing some new officers that were up for election. Other than that, not a whole lot to report, other than the next meeting will be on the 19th of February. It'll be the General Assembly meeting. And that'll be the next meeting at 6 p.m. The next thing I have is just tomorrow is our first public safety meeting at 4 p.m. here at City Hall here for be our first one of the year for public safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Ranky. Councilmember Evers.
I was just gonna talk about the public safety meeting, but Deputy Mayor already talked about it. But anyway, I was impressed. It's like my first public works meeting. And it's like, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this. Oh, somebody else is paying for it. So that was a very good, I don't know if they're all like that, Michael, but that was a good way to start. So anyway, I'm just happy to see the former First Lady of Sumner in the audience tonight. I drive by and walk by her house all the time and it's been a while, so it's very good to see you, Bertie.
Thank you, Councilmember Evers. Councilmember Hotstetter.
Yeah, I want to thank Public Works. Some may know on the corner of Maple and Wood, as you're coming from the Dairy Freeze, you'll see there's a corner there at the Methodist Church, and it was brought to our attention about the sight lines when you're coming west on Maple and you're looking to cross Wood. That's kind of hard to see, and that was brought to the attention of the Public Works staff. They got right on it. You'll notice there's a sign now that doesn't allow people to park too close to that corner. Makes that much safer. My son and I walked that today. Felt much safer being able to see the cars coming down Wood as I grabbed his little hand across the street. So thank you to Public Works for getting right on that. You guys jumped on that, got it done. Exciting to see Hops Alley. I saw the lights go up. I'm seeing pictures floating around on social media of excitement in the community. There's a lot of wins, we talk a lot here and we have a lot of issues to address, but there's also a lot of wins going on and there's a lot of good things happening in this town. And the update of the Heritage Park, you saw new benches come in, you saw the lights turn on yesterday. That's exciting and it makes me excited to know that my kids are going to be running around there soon. Lastly, I'll be serving on 2 commissions, public safety and community development. None of those have meetings yet. I get the honor of sitting on my first committee meeting with Chief Marecki tomorrow for public safety. I look forward to reporting about that next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Hochstetter. Councilmember Wilsey. There you go.
Oh, there we go. So I don't have much to report. Again, I'm on the same committees as Councilman Hochstetter. And so I haven't gotten a chance to meet with anyone yet. I do want to just remind or share, encourage the community to dine local. Our restaurants are all around town. We've got everything from diners to tap houses to wine bars. So, we've got a lot going on downtown, and I encourage you to come downtown or come to Sumner for the dining first before you go, up one of the hills. We got some really cute places to eat. So I want to encourage everybody to come to Sumner. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Wilsey. I'd like to call on City Administrator Jason Wilson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Coming up on next Monday, we're going to start the evening with a special council meeting where you'll be considering a change order for the Heritage Park interim park improvements project. This is basically a closeout of our existing project that we're wrapping up right now. As Councilmember Hochstetter said, the lights turned on yesterday, and it's exciting to see. After that special council meeting, we'll move into a study session where you will hear from the Washington City's Insurance Authority. They'll be giving you a presentation on a lot of their services they offered, as well as just some new tips for you as a newly elected council. The February 2nd regular council meeting is actually canceled, so enjoy a Monday off. Not a typical time to have a meeting off, but for lack of agenda items, we're going to be canceling that meeting. Now, on the February 9th study session, you'll be having a joint training session with the Planning Commission for parliamentary procedures. I want to remind the public that Sumner University returns this February on the 11th and 25th. University provides a participatory overview of significant city services. Attendance is limited to 50 people and it is filling up fast. More information can be found on our website. And also the city is continuing to accept applications for the council vacancy. Those are due on February 17th, and more information as well as the application can be found on our website. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Okay, thank you. All right, so I guess it's my turn to give the mayor's report. Just a couple of things here. So during my campaign, I had the great opportunity to meet a ton of awesome people that live in the city of Sumner. And I had a family reach out to me. Some of you may have seen it on Facebook, and they invited me to a powwow at the Muckleshoot Tribal Center. I went, it was great. It was very inspirational. I'd never been to a powwow. I don't know how many people have been, but these are people that live right here in our town. The young ladies that were dancing, it's actually a competition. And so there were a number of tribes represented. And so the young ladies that live here in town with their dad, they're Northern Cheyenne. And so at the powwow, one of them ended up placing third. The other one didn't place this time, but I've been invited to another one. So I have another opportunity to see both or either one of them win. But they had representatives from Idaho, Oregon, Montana, Canada, California, and Nebraska. So this is a huge event. I would just encourage you, if you want to attend something, really get a sense of community and how everybody is very welcome to each other, but yet they compete. It was really a fun time. So I really enjoyed that. The next thing I would like to share is we've got new council members up here talking about how busy they are and how they're on committees and everybody's in this learning mode. I would just say for myself, Stepping into this role, I think I've been in here, whatever the date is, 19th it is today. I really don't know. I've been so busy. It could be the 30th for all I know. But I have attended numerous meetings, and these meetings include not all, but pretty much all of Sumner staff, a ton of policy meetings, mayors meeting. I've met with mayors from surrounding cities, Sumner Main Street Association, a number of our city partners, and as well developers, because as most people know, I had some pretty intense objectives when I was out campaigning. And I feel that all of the meetings have been very fruitful. It's been really a pleasure, and there's a ton more meetings to go. I would just say, I don't know if people really realize everything that goes into running the city. I just want to say that, and you're going to hear me say that again and again and again. And one thing that I think is very key, everyone, as much as it may not seem like it on some topics, is very cost conscious, because we talk about the residents of this city and that we should not and we cannot raise taxes. This is going to lead me into something with the state. So just saying, learning a ton, and I have a lot more to learn, but I'm enjoying it immensely. I think the city administrator talked about the Sumner University. I will encourage everyone, as he stated, 30 people have signed up. We cap out at 50. I'm going to ask people to please sign up for this, because it's probably the first couple of sessions and many more, and we'll talk about it as we go through it. And then I'd like to talk about the legislative bills. So right now, we is very inclusive, city, the staff, myself, we get these watch lists. We're watching a number of legislative bills. So I would say watch for more of this in the e-news. But today, we've already sent 3 written testimonies at the committee level to stop some of these bills. And by Thursday, we're going to write 2 more and get those presented. And so I don't know how many of you have seen this or even heard about it. Just let me get there. I know we're not supposed to have cell phones on the dais, but I took a picture of this. So I was really fortunate that Representative Josh Penner called me the first Friday of my first week sitting in office to talk about a few things, see how things went, see how I felt about things. But one thing he put out on Facebook is he said, we are not a game and our budget is not a gamble. And we're talking about the state of Washington here. An income tax is not a cure. It is simply more chips for a player who doesn't know when to quit. So with that being said, I fully agree with him. We've got a lot that's coming at us. So I would just ask people to be supportive, know that everybody's making the best decisions possible for the people in this community, but it won't be long and we could perhaps be in a fight for doing what's right. So just know we're paying attention. Okay? With that said, this meeting is adjourned into executive session for the purpose of discussing with legal counsel litigation or potential litigation per RCW 42.30.1101 III. The executive session will last 20 minutes and there will be no action to follow. So this regular meeting is now adjourned at 6:53.